Richard Rouse.
Would you please help me welcome the host for the Genie Awards, the 31st Annual Genie Awards, Mr. William Shatner.
Thank you. And my wife, Elizabeth. She talks better than mine.
Well, Mr. Shatner, thank you for taking a 3-hour awards series show and making it seem like only an hour.
Really? I was working on a half-hour look-alike. Thank you. I think the show went well, and I was very happy, and people laughed, and awards were given out. It was good. I hope Canada is proud of themselves.
Well, how does it feel for you to be back here? You've been away a long time. I know you jump back and forth a little bit, but tell me a little bit about being here and what this means to you.
Well, I was born in Montreal. I went to McGill, and worked in Ottawa at the Canadian Repertoire Theatre, I think for 3 years. Then I went from there to Toronto and worked there for 5 years at Stratford and at Toronto, and then left, went to New York. I've been back frequently. I have family in Montreal, but less and less frequently. And so landing, flying over the border, for that matter, from Los Angeles last night, the fields whitened and the sky got slate gray, and I thought, yeah, Toronto, because that was my winters in Toronto and of course in Montreal. But as a kid in Montreal, I never knew there was blue sky in midwinter. But in Toronto, I did know, and I felt the slate gray and the dank air and the wet underneath your feet. But it all is like mother's milk. It's home cooking. And so when I came in to Ottawa last night, it all was so familiar and comforting. The snow started falling, and I thought, yeah, Canada in the spring, of course. And it was all good and warm, and now the snow is melting, and we'll see spring soon. And that was always an occasion for celebration too, to be able to walk around without a toque.
How do you feel about being here in the winter, or in the spring, I guess now?
Well, I'm just grateful to be here with my husband and to get to share a bit of his past and now his present, and to share all the people that love him as this experience and love him as much as I do. So, and the atmosphere is familiar to me too. I'm a Midwestern girl, and the snow is cozy.
Yeah, so it's not that big a shock.
And those brick houses.
Yeah,
you know, I saw you leaning down here, and I thought, all the people this evening, they would lean down into the microphone. Hello, everybody. I'm here. You know, and there's really no need because the mics are.
Well, thanks. No, for the lesson,
what
I need that.
There would be no need for you to know that, but you'd think all those other people go to say, "Hello, I'm just. I'm glad to have won."
This is really good.
Do we have questions from the scrum?
Excuse me?
Cold outside. Do you wish you would have worn cold?
You know, I'm really happy the way I am. I'm over 50, and the cool air feels great.
What cool air is going where?
Anywhere it goes, it feels good at this point. Whew.
Jay Stone has a question.
Me? Come back? I certainly would. It would. It's a vote of confidence for this year, actually. I mean, if I turned it down, even it would be good. But yes, this is fun. Ottawa's great. Ottawa's grown so it's unrecognizable. It's a different city than one I knew. The one I knew, you could see the Peace Tower's lawns. They slope down to Murray's. Is Murray still there down there? All right. Well, that was my consciousness of Ottawa. I wrote a song that's in our it's in our album. I wrote several songs to Liz and several songs of my past. And there's one lyric in which I think the song is "It Hasn't Happened Yet," and I talk about walking across the snowfields, hearing the carillons toll, and that was exactly where it was. Canadian Repertory Theatre, the CRT, was down, I don't remember the name of the street, but the front that goes along the side. Wellington? Was that it?
Where the canal is, right?
Oh, well, no, it wasn't where the canal. But anyway, it was at a high school or a school, and we used their theater. And we did it for years, and a lot of, as you well know, I'm not telling you anything, a lot of Canadian actors were at the Canadian Repertory Theatre and moved on to other places, to Stratford. But everybody came through the CRT. And Ottawa then was a small town, and Murray's was all I could afford to eat. Is there a Murray's here? It's gone, huh?
Was it a diner or what?
Yeah. It was like a Canadian. It's like it's the name of the hockey player who has the
Tim Hortons.
It's like a Tim Horton,
right?
But not as good.
Linda has a question here.
Are you friends with Christopher Plummer?
Very much so.
Anticipate still being a friend of his tomorrow.
Say that again. Oh, about the syphilis. Well, hey, a truth is a truth. I mean, you have to. I am we're old friends, and see each other every so too long a time. And in fact, Liz and I have been married 11 years, and every so often she says, "Is that Chris Plummer?" You know, that's how infrequently we see each other. But I interviewed him at Stratford this past year, apropos of something else, and it turned into a 2-hour interview. And I realized that we had a wonderful show of reminiscing between Chris and myself, and I'm going tomorrow to approach the CBC about buying it as a show that looks back on the early years of. This is actually a coup. I haven't told this to anybody. Yeah, tell you. So tomorrow I have a meeting with the CBC in order to tell them about this show that would look back at the history of early radio and television mostly at the CBC, because that's where we made our living in those years.
Other questions from the scrum? Go ahead.
Two of your illustrious Canadian films in the past. Why do you think you never were offered other projects up here in Canada?
I don't know. I don't know. I often wondered why all the American actors were being asked to come up here and perform things that I could have. I don't know. It was a source of mystery to me. I've always been busy in the States, and maybe that was one reason. But
and do something else?
Well, a good part and a good movie and good people, they're difficult to find. You're always anxious and envious to do that. So I have no reason. I don't know why Canadian dramaturgists have not called upon me. I've sort of thought about it a bit. Yeah.
We have another question right here.
Hi. I'm wondering whether you saw Incendie and Gordon's version.
No, I didn't have a chance to see Incendie. Peut-être mañana. That's too long. Demain matin ou un autre jour. Well, of course, it's a French film that's my native city, Montreal, and it carries with it a fire that no other city in the world has, and more so since I've left it. So we're always glad to go back to Montreal and see the glorious city that it is. I hosted the comedy festival twice, I think, there. We're looking forward to some summer going to the jazz festival and the comedy festival and partaking of. And I learned to ski in the Laurentians. I mean, what you don't understand is Canada, and in particular Quebec, is my home state. State of home, if you will.
Richard Krause.